we're going to speed this right along. First of all, a lot of things have been happening in my life, my whole life. We were sitting there trying to figure out what we wanted to call this and come up with a journey of a wrestler. Well, my journey isn't quite like anybody else's. I was born into the wrestling business. My father wrestled, and he was a headliner. We traveled all over the nation. I lived in 21 places, 21 different parts of the country in different territories before I started first grade.
Wow.
That's a lot of moving to do. Every 3 or 4 months you're heading from Omaha, Nebraska to Tampa, Florida, then to Charlotte, North Carolina, out to Los Angeles. So life was kind of difficult. You're always making new friends, and you're the new kid in the neighborhood. First, you got that fight you got to go up against, and then your father's a mountain of a man, so you got to defend his job every day for all the kids in the neighborhood and everything. So I was fighting a lot in school. I changed schools 2 and 3 times a year, every year, until we finally in 1971 moved to Louisiana. Then we started living in one area like a whole year or 3 years or 5 years. It was kind of neat. Never had that before. In our household, everybody knows that Jake and I we're half brothers. The word half brother wasn't used in our house, but we're half brothers. And anyway, when I was a little boy, Jake and Jolynn lived with Robin and I, and then as they grew older, they wanted to stay in Texas, and then it was my sister, myself, my mom, and my dad. And then when my mom and dad divorced, it was me and my dad. I went on the road with him. So basically, what I worked myself into was a position of no parental supervision at all. I was on the road. I was lost in this business. In 2nd grade, I went to a wrestling camp. Okay, let me. When I was growing up, my friends wasn't Alan and Joe down the block and this one and that one. My friends were guys like Danny Hodge, Dick Murdoch, Killer Call Cox, my buddies in the dressing room at night, because that's where I was. Every night I could be on the road with my dad. That's where I was. So when I walk in the dressing room with my dad carrying his bags and stuff like that, I was a valet. I was every damn thing. I was a timekeeper when needed to be, and set up the ring. I could do it all, Jack. But anyway, my dad, you would walk in the dressing room with your dad, and your dad tells you to hit Haystacks Calhoun in the stomach, and then he lets you know he's gonna hit you back. So, okay, I'm sitting here, Dad's telling me to give him the shot. So I know if I give him the shot, he's hitting me back. But if I don't give him the shot, he's hitting me back. So which way do you go with it? So I about broke my wrist, hit Haystacks Calhoun in the stomach, and about got my nose broke, hitting Dick Murdoch in his nose. So, anyway, but that's sort of how it was. Well, my mom and dad split up and everything, and I had no adult supervision. Well, I got acquainted with alcohol. I had it worked up there. The little girl at the convenience store liked me and stuff. When I was 15, had a ride and everything. And she hooked me up on leaving the liquor bottles outside the back of the Circle K. So that was cool. That was never a problem. Well, when I was 17, y'all, oh gosh, my life started changing big time. Wasn't Grizzly Smith's son, the kid that worked at the Exxon station or the Mobil station on all the boys' cars and stuff anymore. I went in to go get my tonsils taken out. I went in, the doctor messed up. Make a long story short, I flatlined for 2 minutes. And then when they resuscitated me, I was in a coma for 2 weeks. The out-of-body experiences, the whole 9 yards. It was, it made me turn away from religion and more to spirituality. And that's the message when I speak at churches and stuff that I try to get across. It's not about a man-made religion. It's that you have a one-on-one personal relationship with your Creator. And it doesn't matter to me who you choose as your Creator or higher power. Mine is Jesus Christ. You know, and that's where my heart's at. But you can have anybody you want to. I don't want to offend nobody. But anyway, I spent 2 weeks in a coma. I did not eat food from April the 2nd till August the 14th when I was released. Then I dropped down from 230 pounds to 128 pounds. It took me a year to put the weight back on. When I put the weight back on, I went to my dad and I told my dad I'm ready to break in. And he told me, he said, no, he said, I've already lost you once. So I'm not losing you again. And I loaded my car up and I went down to Florida. And Dusty Rhodes got me my first matches. Got me started out. Kind of ironic, the same birthplace for Michael Smith, which is me, is also the same birthplace at Tampa Fort Homer Hesterly Armory on September 13th, 1983. Sam Houston was born. So that was kind of cool for me. Both of them both born in the same town, so it makes it easy for me to remember where I was coming from. Anyway, I worked in Florida for 3 months and I got good at my craft. And let me tell you how you get good at your craft. Back then in the territories, man, the guys were working every night. Something that you don't have today. You know, and it needs to get back to that. You know, it needs to get back to where the athletes don't have to depend on working at the Tire Kingdom or Jiffy Lube or whatever, to where they're athletes, and that's what they do. That's what they do every day. It needs to get back to that point. That's where we were at back then, because you learn. Okay, you're out in the ring, you're learning your craft, you're learning your maneuvers, your whatever. You're learning psychology, you're learning the feel, everything like that. And then, but you're on the trip out, you know, which of course you get your 12-pack of beer, and then you hit the road, but you're learning from the old timers like Johnny Weaver, like Rufus Jones, like Jimmy Valiant. You know, you're learning from those guys, and they're giving you constructive criticism, and then the next night you can work on what you learned the night before. Y'all don't have that privilege, you know, and that's why my hats are off to you now. You're going out there and you're giving it your best shot, but you just need a little bit of guidance. Is probably the way I would say it, or a little bit of direction, you know. But anyway, I went from there to the Carolinas, and I got to tell you, man, with Dusty, with Magna, you know, the whole thing, it was a roller coaster ride. And, you know, you're living the rock and roll lifestyle. You're doing everything you want to do because it's readily accessible and readily available. You know, everything is right there at your feet. Well, what happened to me, some people can handle it. You know, got to me. My wife left me. I still love her to this day. We're the best of friends. But she was baby doll. And we had 2 beautiful daughters. If y'all check out Samantha Starr on YouTube, that's my youngest daughter. And she's coming up, she's a 3rd generation, and she's doing very well, and I'm very proud to be her daddy. You know. But anyway, shortly after she left, I took a bad shot to the head, to the back of the neck, and I ruptured 3 discs in my neck, and I was partially paralyzed for 9 months, the left side of my body. And this doctor out in California started working on me, Dr. Irving Schaffner, and he worked on me every day from 7:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon, doing some things, and I tell you, some things are legal that he was doing over here, some things just hadn't been approved. He built Frankenstein in his office. We sincerely believe that. Well, anyway, he got me back on my feet, and I was doing quite well. And then the Northridge earthquake hit. When the Northridge earthquake hit, I started banging down doors and getting people out of the condos that we were in and across the street to the mountain. Well, I re-injured myself, and it took another 6 months before I could start getting around again. Started getting around again, I was doing real well, and I went to Atlanta to visit my dad. He worked for WCW. He was a road agent at the time. I got there, and we went to a TV taping, and Dusty come back and he goes, "Have you seen Pops, baby?" I said, "Yeah, he's over the table sending guys to the ring." He goes, "No." He goes, "Have you seen him? He's great." So So I took him to the hospital and they had to have emergency surgery and his whole stomach removed. They had to take a piece of his large intestine and make a stomach cavity for him so he could eat. Well, anyway, he ended up with staph infection out of that, and I was at the hospital the night it opened up. And when I took him out of the hospital the next day, I had the hotel that we lived in, I had them prepare his room. And I was taking it back and I walking through the lobby, and there's a great big Indian guy, 6'6", 295 pounds. He goes, "Hey, Sam Houston." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You remember me?" And I was like, "Nope." He goes, "Well, you whipped my ass about 4 years ago." And I'm thinking, oh God, he wants to fight. You know, I was like, okay. And I go to put Dad over here at the front desk, and he says, "Let me help you." And he carried me back. Sorry, y'all. You like my ringtone? We got a little Clint Eastwood going on in here. Anyway, what I want to tell you, he helped me get my dad back to the room and change his dressings and stuff like that. Well, he asked me that night if I'd start working out at the power plant with him. And so I did. And we worked out together for about 3 months, about 2 hours a day, every day. And Charlie finally comes to me one night and he said, "Man, you need to be back in there." And I told him no. I said, "My career is over." He said, "No, Sam." He goes, "You need to be back in there." I said, "Charlie, my career is over. I've been hurt." And then he told me, he said, "Sam," he said, "when we get to the power plant," he goes, "I'm 290 pounds. He goes, "I weigh you 60 pounds. He goes, "I'm 3 inches taller than you. I'm 60 pounds heavier than you." He goes, "I'm giving you everything I got in the ring and I can't do a damn thing with you. You need to get back in there." So I thought about it and I figured, well, if it was a tag situation, I would. He said, "Well, what about you and your brother?" And I said, "My brother would feed me to the wolves." So Charlie offered to be my partner, and he got me back out. But let me tell you something, y'all. One of the best compliments I ever got in my life, and I talk about it on Facebook, if any of y'all are my friends and stuff, is going that one step further. One night, I was coming back from the ring in Philadelphia. And I come back, and Paul Ellering's standing there, he's watching my match. And, you know, that's an honor. I mean, the guys are watching my match, that's cool. And Paul comes to me and he goes, "Hey, Sam," he goes, "Do you know why I love watching your matches?" And I said, "No, why?" And he goes, "Because you always go that one step further when you get out there. You know, to make it real, to make people believe." And that was a desire, that was a drive that I had inside. After I got hurt, I lost that. I got complacent. I got lazy. I wanted to just relax and sit back on my laurels in the profession and what I had already accomplished. So after that point, when Charlie and I got together, I get out there and I do just enough. Just enough, not just enough to, I can give you a good show, but I can go out there and give you just enough. And I lost that drive, I lost that desire to go one step further. I don't know if it was lazy, I don't know if it was something I hadn't found myself. But in 2009, and this stayed with me until
the tragic years.
Anyway, in 2009, I'm doing an event for a young boy. I just gotten out of rehab, doing an event for a young boy. Had a contract with the building owner and the promoter and this, that. Well, they, it was a pretty decent deal. And anyway, they double-crossed me, started a relapse. I ended up making the improper lane change after one drink and serving 5 years in prison. They viewed me as a security arrest. When I went to court, they only had me charged with an improper lane change. They threw that out when I went to court and hit me with a fourth offense DWI. Told them I haven't been convicted of a third offense. They said if they had to redo the paperwork, they were going to hit me with the Habitual Offender Act, when set me down for the rest of my life, or I would sign off on the fourth offense. They'd give me 10 years, I'd serve half of it, or if I fought it in court, they were going to give me 30 flat. So my decision was made. That was on a Thursday. On Saturday night, y'all, I took my bed sheet, stripped it up, braided it up, made 2 nooses, ran them through the bars, put those nooses over my head. I said a prayer and I said, God, only you can stop this now. And I jumped. Both nooses broke. I dropped to my knees then, and I promised God I'd never try to hurt myself again. 4 days later, my mom passed. Her liver shut down from drinking. That night, I dropped down to my knees and I prayed and I told God I was never going to drink again. It's been almost 7 years and I haven't had a drop. Now, I want to get something straight with y'all right now. If you drink, you are not offending me at all. I don't give a damn what you think you're going. You know? I don't need it. I choose not to. For a long time, if I saw a bottle, I gotta empty that bottle. I gotta drink it. It's there calling my name. I'm not like that no more. I can look at that bottle, it can be open, I can smell it the whole 9 yards, and yeah, you can probably get off on that, but I don't want it. It's my choice, and I choose not to. You're not offending me any way, shape, or form. Whatever you want to do is cool with me. You know, just allow me that same privilege. If you say, oh, the guy wants a cup of coffee, cool. You know, that's great. Love that. But anyway, I got to tell you, they locked me up. They put me in some pretty rough places. The first place when they locked me up, they put me on Murderer's Row. They said I was a security threat because I'm a wrestler. So the first guy that comes up to me, Mr. Matthews, he's an older black gentleman. He comes in there and he sits down there across from me and he says, yeah, I just killed 3 white women. And he goes, what do you do? I said, I'm in here for an improper lane change.
I'm pretty bad.
No, but that shoulder to shoulder, and I talked to these guys. Mr. Matthews, what had happened? You know, it's like how you can become a victim of circumstances. There's things going on all around you all the time that you don't know about. But Mr. Matthews had worked for this fella for about 35 years, most of his life, and the fellow left his company to his son. Well, the son didn't like Mr. Matthews because maybe it wasn't groomed well enough, or maybe it was nappy. I don't know. You know, that's not my judgment or my call to make. Well, Mr. Matthews, the son turned around, he fired Mr. Matthews, his employee for 35 years, or his dad's employee. Mr. Matthews is sitting there, he's got a brand new mobile home, brand new truck. He's got 3 daughters in college. You know, the man was a hard-working man. And he was sitting in there, and he was going to lose it all. He filled out his unemployment paperwork, and I don't know what kind of brakes a guy, your employer, can put on it, because I don't deal with crap. I mean, stuff like that. But the guy evidently put some sort of stop on Mr. Matthews' unemployment benefits, so the guy's getting ready to lose everything. He grabs a pistol and takes it to work, and he's going to shoot his boss's son. But when he walked in, there were three white ladies sitting inside. When they saw the gun, they went to screaming and holler, and he got scared, you know, and boom, 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 and he put out three lives. You know, when Mr. Matthews, let me say this, when Mr. Matthews went before the judge, he asked to be put to death. You know, he was remorseful, but, you know, you get caught in the spur of the moment, and you get scared. They would go get... I feel like wanting to walk like John Wayne. You know? Anyway, I was in some pretty rough places. Then I go to Tensaw in Waterproof, Louisiana. And that was a maximum security disciplinary camp. So that was for the worst of the worst of the worst. And we were in these dorms. It was 90-something guys to a dorm, 96 guys to a dorm. And I'd been there 7 months, and I had been doing everything I could to try to transfer out of there. It was horrible. You know, you got 2 to 5 fights a night, every night in the dorm. About once or twice a week, somebody was getting cut up pretty good in a fight, or about once a month, you were getting jugged up with a toothbrush or, somebody making a shit and they're jugging you up. So you gotta be, you're always watching your back. Well, I've been there about 7 months and I was getting tired. And I made a commissary one day. It was $160. When I come back from chow, my locker had been broke into and all my commissary was gone. So I called the lieutenant, tell the lieutenant says, oh, we're gonna look it up on the camera. He comes back, says, hey man, we didn't see nothing. Go strap up and go to the back. That means you're going back there to Knuckle City. So I found the 3 guys that did it. I was a little bit, I wasn't ever apprehensive or scared of them, but I just, so I went to my Bible, we had a little Bible group. I went to my buddies in the Bible group, and I asked them to just position themselves around and make sure nobody hits you in the back of the head with a lock. They take a lock and a shoestring. They whoop you up pretty good that way. I asked them to make sure that nobody does that or sticks me up. And they went and positioned themselves, and I went in. I got my hands on 2 of them. And it was great. I was rattling bones and felt like my own self. Boom, boom. The whole dorm. These were the guys that brought in the cigarettes and the drugs. I'm already going in as the heel, against this. I gotta tell you guys, I turned baby face that night because them boys were loving me eating. I was dishing out. So the only person that knew who I was the captain of the prison. And he tells me, he goes, I gotta tell the warden something. I said, you tell him whatever you gotta tell him, man, I'm tired. So the next day I go to the warden's office and he pulls me in there, and the warden's got me on WWE 24/7 or whatever, on demand, this, that, and the other, all on these computer screens, and then he's watching the closed circuit video of me going to town in his facility. And he's like, man, this is really you. And I was like, yeah. He said, I'm going to do you a big favor. And he sent me, he had me transferred to the only Class A trustee camp in the state of Louisiana. I got to go outside the gates. When you get outside that chain link and razor wire, there's just a different feeling. I just got to tell you from the heart, man, to smell the air on the inside of it, it is bad. It really is bad. I want to tell you the horrors inside, but I don't, because it crushed a lot of y'all. Just the things that go on. Anyway, I was there. While I was there, I worked on the road crew. Paving roads, filling potholes, cutting trees, putting in culverts, whatever it took to keep the parish roads open. I did. And we got out there, and it was out there doing that. That's when I found that one step further in me again, that desire, that drive to want to get up every morning and push and go that one step further. If I'm doing something for you, I don't want to do something just good enough for you. I want to do it good enough so my master says you did a good job for that lady. That's how I want to be. I want to be your friend. I want to be your teacher, your leader, your shepherd, your minister. I don't want to be anything like that. All I want to be is your friend. I'll tell you what happened to me. I'll tell you how it happened to me, and I'll tell you who helped me out of where I've been. Yes, I do study the Bible. No, I don't try to jam it down anybody's throat, because your beliefs may not be mine. And I'd rather not argue with you. I'd rather fellowship with you. If that makes any sense to any of y'all. I know it makes a little bit of sense. But anyway, I went through all that. I found that desire to go that one step further back in me in prison. And then I get out a couple of years ago. About 2.5 years ago, something like that. I get out, and it's a whole new world. Now I got to learn how to use a telephone. Y'all think that's pretty simple. For somebody that's been, and from the Stone Age like me, I'm having to learn how to do a computer, a tablet. Now here's the one thing that they helped me with. They got me the phone that looks like the tablet. That way, I only got to learn the one thing, but use it twice. So that works for me. But I get out, and and this whole new world is opened up in a world of our business, professional wrestling. And, I want to experience it. I want to taste every minute of it. I want to, it's kind of like that song, I want to live like I'm dying. And when I'm here, that's kind of what it feels like. The camaraderie with you guys and stuff. Getting in the ring. I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but I really enjoyed myself the last couple of nights.
Yeah.
I mean,